Excuse me, my goodness, right off the bat, huh? Hello, my Aloha. Good Lord. It's going to be a day. It's going to be a day. All right, let's do this again. Good morning, my Aloha tribe, or hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective. Good morning, good afternoon, good day, wherever you are in this world. Happy midnight. I'm sure there's one somewhere. Today is a mood. Today is a mood. But, there was a time in my life when I realized, I'm rediscovering it now, that when I would be in a mood, it would, the way I dressed, my makeup, everything would just kind of, whoo. So I thought, whoa, every way I'm leaning is kind of like, whoa, okay. So I asked the Echo, play me a song. And she played Bob Marley, No Woman, No Cry. And I thought, well, I said, play an uplifting song. And I thought, okay, let's go with this. Good morning, baby siblings. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to look this up and see exactly what it means. I mean, Bob Marley's so zen, right? So, kind of that just meditative mode. So I looked up the meaning to the lyrics, and I thought I would read it for you really quick because I figured it's a sign, right? When I asked my Echo, play me an uplifting song, and it played Bob Marley's No Woman, No Cry. Oddly enough, the live version from London, of course. But I looked it up, and the reason I want to share it before I get to self-love lesson number 30 and the affirmators deck is because I think it's important to remind ourselves that no matter what our moods are in, it's momentary. This too shall pass. But sometimes we have to do that work. We have to take that action. We have to tell our brains, knock it off. I'm not listening to you anymore. I don't want to talk about it. Go away, go to hell, whatever. And so I looked it up, and it says the meaning of No Woman, No Cry has to do with keeping your head up through hard times. Some have wrongly assumed that the lyrics have a different meaning entirely, referring to keeping women out of your life to avoid crying, but this is not the case at all. Now, mind you, this is a fan site, okay, from like Bob Marley, straight up. All right, like this person lives, breathes, and drinks Bob Marley. So anyways, but this is not the case at all. The song is meant as an encouragement and a reminder of the things that life is worth living for, a beacon of hope shining through the darkness. So the song was performed live in London in 1975. It was written and released, I believe, the original version in 1974, but the London version was actually the one that became more popular and is usually the one that's more played. So whenever you ask for it to play and you hear all that cheering in the background, it is probably, if you have any British friends, it's probably their parents screaming and yelling. So I know. Like my parents' era. But anyways, so that was that. And I thought, what a perfect reminder. And, thank you to my Echo for kind of maybe just, I know that that's just the AI, the machine, right? But I feel like we're watched after, we're looked after, and someone's like, you need to hear this and you need to look it up. And so, keeping your head up through hard times and encouragement and reminder that the things that life is worth living for, and a beacon of hope shining through the darkness. So there you go. That's going to be my theme song for today, the beacon of hope shining through the darkness. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever the heck you are in the world. Happy whatever. So ownership. This is our affirmators deck. Then we're going to get to self-love lesson number 28. I'm glad some of you that are on here live were not on the minute I hit go, because wow, that was another reason why I had to share that whole No Woman, No Cry thing from Bob Marley. So I'm trying to figure out what the glue and matches. Oh, I see. Glue and matches. Burning bridges. I'm assuming that's what it means, because that looks like a bridge to me made out of matches. And it looks like one little thing and boom. So I take ownership for how I make others feel, and I do my part to repair any bridges. There you go. I might have burned or perhaps even lightly singed. Oh, okay, I see. I'm sorry. Okay, so this Monday mood comes equipped with me being inept at doing everything right now, including reading. So bear with me. And like I said, I was not going to start this live over. You get what you get, because this is reality. This is mental health. This is all these things screaming at you going, what the hell? So, so yeah, this, you get what you get. So anyways, again, ownership. I take ownership for how I make other people's feel. Shit. All right. Let's try this one more time. I take ownership for how I make others feel, and I do my part to repair any bridges I might have burned or perhaps even slightly singed. If bridge mending feels impossible, then I can start small. Instead of becoming a bridge architect, maybe I'll just skip the bridge and walk the long way around. Taking ownership is great for burning galleries. Okay, great. Part of self-love is taking accountability for the things that we've done, the things that we've done in our past, the people we may have hurt in the past, the people that, maybe we don't give enough time to, whatever it is. If you feel guilty about something, make amends, take accountability. Because when we don't, and it builds and builds and builds, and it just kind of comes this big monster inside of you, it can go bad. It can truly, truly go bad. And that's not what you want. Because what you're trying to build is this beautiful foundation of self-love, this place where you take ownership for your own actions, where you take ownership for, your own misdeeds, maybe in the past, or maybe something just happens and you might snap. We're not perfect. We are not going to have a great day every day. There are going to be days where we just feel like, punching a hole in the universe and walking out into a whole new galaxy, just like, get out of my way, I'm out. And sometimes when that happens, if we don't address it right away, it can come out on other people. So if it's something from before, if it's something current, or if, maybe down the road something happens, take accountability for it. Take your ownership. Okay? Admit, your wrongdoing in whatever it was that happened. It doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a human being. You are who you are. And, if it's really, really bad and it doesn't go the way you want it to, even though you've apologized, that's something you have to live with. That's taking accountability. You can only hurt people so many times before they go, I'm out. So when we take ownership of, our actions, then, it really kind of solidifies this, house of self-love that we're building. And so that will be my segue going right into self-love, because now we are on lesson number 28 of 30. I'm getting a little sad. I'm not going to lie. Breaking it down over the course of several months and only doing 3 a week, it really kind of, it puts you in a mood when you get to the end, because it's been since late October that we started this, and it's been quite a journey. I think there's been a lot of self-discovery. Last week we talked about, what choices can you make right now for your future self to thank you for. We talked about shadow work again, which was number 26, I believe. I think that was Tuesday's lesson, or Wednesday's lesson, I'm sorry, because we shifted the week. Yeah, what parts of you you're ashamed of? What does your shadow self look like? These are all going to be questions that are really kind of, it's like putting the roof on your house of self-love. It's literally like putting the roof on your house of self-love. So, today's lesson, who are your role models and what qualities do you share with them? That is varied throughout my life. And I look up to a lot of people. There are a lot of different people I know that I see the qualities in them, and I really strive towards that. But I would have to say, in what has been the long game of this journey, I would say that older sibling has been my role model. And I say that with no disrespect to anybody else. But, and this is what I mean by the long game. She has struggled with her mental health since she was a young girl. And fortunately for her, it was not ignored. But also, unfortunately for her, it was not ignored because it wasn't understood as much when she was younger. We didn't put the thought we should have put into it that we do now. And so there were some mishaps, wrong steps along the way of her mental health. She's a very open book. She allows me to share her stuff. She survived 2 attempts at taking her life. And, you know, one of the things I asked her, sometimes I just get so curious about things because, you know, I've come close, but I've never gone through with it. I mean, I've literally had the blade to my wrist or the pills right in front of me, but something's always happened that stopped me. And so I asked her, I said, what was it like? And she says, there's nothing worse than feeling like you failed that. But I told her I'm glad she did, because let's put it in horse terms, since older sibling is a horse person. Used to be a winning equestrian jumper. Think of your mental health as being a wild horse. Okay. Now, I know some people are going to say, oh God, she's going to go with the breaking the horse thing. I don't like the term, because what I think it is, it's more like taming it. And I know not everybody's into that, because I know, hey, let them run wild and free. But you know, stick with me here. Think of it as somebody coming in to tame a wild horse. You know, and it could be for a variety of reasons. If you want, maybe the horse is injured, all right, and you need to help it, or it's going to die, or it might pass something on to the rest of its crew. But you get into that ring, and you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're going to get kicked. You don't know if, you know, when you get on the horse, you're going to get thrown off. You don't know what may happen to you physically. Well, it's the same when you're trying to deal with someone who doesn't understand their mental health, who has been stigmatized for a good part of their life, told to sweep it under the rug, told to not think about it, told to do this, that, and the other. And they find you and they say, hey, maybe you need to get some help. Okay, all of a sudden, you know, you're kicking those back legs going, fuck you. What are you trying to say? Are you trying to say there's something wrong with me? Because when I was growing up, that's what mental health looked like for a lot of us. Maybe not everybody who understood it, but for us, it was like, there's something wrong with you. You need to be stronger. You need to be tough. You need to not, you know, and that's the problem, is we stigmatize it so much that some people will sit there and say, well, maybe I have depression. Nah, I doubt it. It's not my thing. You don't get a choice whether it's your thing or not. The choice you make is whether you deal with it or not. And I found somebody a very long time ago. I've known older sibling for over 20 years now. And we've been roommates for like forever. All right. But she was patient. And, you know, she also goes, you know, after she had her surgery back in '05. Back in '05. Look at me talking like I'm at the beginning of the 20th century. Her RSD came out of remission, and RSD is also known as CRPS. So it's a very ugly autoimmune disease. It's, if you know what, most people know what fibromyalgia is. Think of chronic pain and times it by about 1,000. Plus, you know, your body feels like it's on fire. And we all know what it's like, you know, when we feel like we get burned, right? You're like, oh, don't touch me, and this, that, and the other. So, like I said, it's no disrespect to anybody else, you know, because I value everybody in my life. I value everything everybody brings to my life. I value what my support system brings to my life. But I'm choosing her as my role model because I see what she battles through every day. But mostly because she got into that horse ring with me, and she wouldn't quit until I was better. And I can feel the emotions coming up because, and I'm sorry, you know, this isn't fake. These things just happen because my soul knows what would have happened to me if she didn't. What would have happened if she said, this horse is just, you know, untamable, I'm out? What would have happened if she gave up on me? I don't know. And I shudder to think what would have happened to me, because when she stepped into that horse ring with me, I was in a very, very dark, dark place. And it was only a matter of time that those almost attempts would have become a reality. And maybe I would have survived it. Maybe I won't. I'll never know. And that's one of those things that I'm grateful that I will never know. It's one of those things that I say to myself, thank goodness somebody had the courage 20 years ago to see me, to step into that ring with me and say, hey, we'll take as long as we need to get you where you need to be. And boy, I was not a kind person at the beginning because I was so stigmatized, because not me personally, but just the whole thing in general. You know, I see a lot of these funny Gen X videos, right? And there's one thing that they always mention. I mean, different people, okay, making these videos, how our mental health was so stigmatized that we just had to deal with things. And that might be why when people say, oh, blah, blah, we're just like, oh, fuck off. You know, fuck it all. It was just kind of like, whatever. Because that's how we had to deal with it. Because people didn't understand it. Not all of us were lucky to have somebody that understood it and didn't try to sweep it under the rug. Somebody very important in my life tried to sweep it under the rug because they had a family member that succumbed to their mental health. They blamed it on something else. Of course they did. Because nobody sees the signs. So whoever your role model is, it doesn't matter. It could be an athlete. It could be a celebrity. It could be a family member. It could be a friend. It could be someone you met on the street and just were so inspired by. And maybe you didn't catch their name, like that person. Role models are going to change throughout our life. They really are. And to be honest with you, it surprised me because when I was growing up, I always looked to my parents to be my role model. You know, my backup role model is baby sibling. She's been through a lot of shit in her life. I mean, God, she's very young. And I can't imagine going through some of the stuff she's been through. And so it's moments like these where I was talking about the Bob Marley song this morning when, you know, beacon of hope shining through the darkness. When I start to feel those dark things coming in, I think, gosh, look what she's done. Look what older siblings done. You know, I have a friend who I'm not sure if they're watching, but I just saw their name pop up, who every so often I'll just have these messenger conversations with. And, it always seems to be that we fall apart at different times. But we find a way to build each other back up. Like, oh God, because we understand that anxiety that we get sometimes. And my friend Eileen, very inspiring person as well. So I'm grateful that the people in my life inspire me. Every one of them in their own way is a role model. And when you really stop and think about it, these are the people that we need to surround ourselves with. The people that build us up, that bring us up, that, when we say something to them, they don't look at us like we have 20 heads and say, just, ignore it. Be strong, be stronger, be tougher. We can only be so strong and tough. But here's the reality of it all. And this is mental health reality. This is mental health fact. When you push stuff down, it is going to come back up eventually. It's not going to stay down. It may not come out explosive like some people do, where they just, rattle off all this stuff like there's some kind of machine gun, just pop, 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 pop. But it could come out in little ways. Maybe you complain about things that you never complained about before. Maybe things hurt you more that never hurt you more. Maybe you're more offended more. Maybe, you're more sensitive, than you used to be. Because it builds and it builds and it builds. And it's like this really icky volcano of just sadness and pain and anger and anxiety and frustration and just all this negative stuff that just comes up and goes poof. And it might do little poos. It might throw rocks here and there, little lava rocks all over the place, right? Before it completely explodes. And for some, I think maybe those little tiny, letting off steam things happen because it's a light pressure. It's letting off the pressure. But whether you're in a situation where it's letting off little bits of pressure, or if it's just one big explosion, you have to take care of it. You have to take care of it. And I'm saying you have to, that's your choice. You get to decide how you handle your mental health. But when it comes to role models, especially when it comes to self-love, you want the people around you that are going to raise you up as much as you do them. That when you answer, I'm fine, they look at you and say, but how are you really doing? Because they can feel your vibe, because they're so connected to you. And don't get lost in that. Some people all feel their vibe. You know what? You can. Have you ever just walked into a room and your friend has this smile on their face, but you know something's wrong? It's because you're connected to them. It's because you can feel whatever's hurting them, despite their fake it till you make it smile. And if people that are close to you don't see that, don't fault them. Some people struggle with their own stuff. And sometimes it's hard for them to see through what they're going through to be there for you. Some people are able to compartmentalize it. Compartmentalizing is great for a moment, but you still need to go back and deal with it. So I can't tell you what to do, but what I can suggest is whoever your role model is. And like I said, it can be anybody. I'm not telling you who your role model can or can't be. Like I said, it could be an athlete. It could be a famous person. It could be a person you just met. I mean, I'll be honest with you. If Forrest Gump were real and I were sitting next to him on that bench in Savannah waiting for that bus instead of where he ended up running to, I would have found him to be very inspiring. You know, because there are people like him in the world. Maybe not, these multi-millionaire people, but maybe there are. But there are people like him in this world that just, they're so innocent. Their mind is so innocent that they really try to look to the good of everything. That, they live life in, I don't want to say a simple way because that feels kind of rude and judgy. But what I mean by that is that they look at life so much differently than the rest of us. Like it's this beautiful thing that sometimes has bad things happen in it. It's this beautiful thing that we have to keep living. Even when we feel like, maybe that horse is stepping on our face, right? Which, ouch, probably kill you, but, it's a metaphor. But, the untamable horse is the stuff that we face, It's the stuff that scares us. It's the things that keep us from aligning into the true person we know we're meant to be, our true self. And I think what we owe to ourselves is to align with that person, to discover that self-purpose, to say, you know what, to all those baddies out there or whatever all that negative energy is trying to just pound you down, fuck off. Yeah. So this whole thing may be a mood today, which actually, I don't know. I kind of like looking like this sometimes, but it was a mood today. It really is a mood today. And I don't think it's a bad mood. I don't think it's a dark mood. I'm returning to a point in my life before I started healing, before a lot of the memories came up that just kind of sidelined me from life for far too long. Far too long. I was telling one of my friends the other day, I said, my dad loves to throw birthdays on big birthdays. And as many of you know, because I haven't been shy about it, I'm going to be 50 in a few months. And I figured when I flew into my 30s, I had so many plans. I thought so many things were going to just, happen. And all great things happened, but nothing that I asked for. Then I hit my 40s and I thought, okay, this is it. This is it. You hear your biological tick clocking or did I just say what I said? You hear your biological clock ticking. Excuse me, if you're a girl, guys can just procreate forever. And you think, okay, this is it. And then you get to my age now and you're like, okay, I've lost several significant people in my life, 4 amazing people in my life in this last decade. 2 of them super duper close to. One of them being my mother. And when my mom passed, it really changed the dynamic of our family. Things weren't the same. We weren't the same. And that's understandable when you lose somebody you love. You know, and on different levels. My dad lost his wife, I lost my mom. But we changed. And I don't know if it was, for me, I think it was for the better. I can't speak to my dad because I'm not my dad. But I've seen the change a little bit. And, you know, I tread lightly on this because he would probably disagree with me. But even our relationship changed. You know, it seemed to me, maybe not to him, but it does feel a little strange now. And I think part of it was my fault. You know, I feel like you always need to lean into a parent when you lose a parent. But I'm an adult. I'm not a child. And I forgot that he lost someone he was married to for 47 years. I lost my mom at 41. And, so almost 10 years ago, 8 years ago. But I look back on it now and I see how I could have fallen apart in so many directions. And all these people that I lean into, that support group of role models, all stepped up. And along the way I met new people. I reconnected with Eileen. I connected with my friend Chris, who's on now. And, you know, it's interesting that these are all the people that are on now, because they're the ones that just seem to know, you know, that just seem to know that you have such a connection with. They just, it's like, maybe every so often I'll get this random meme, right, in my messenger box, and it'll just make me laugh. And it always comes at the right time. And maybe the person on the other end sending it doesn't know that it's something I needed. But when you have a connection with people, it, you know, you just know. You just feel it's like, this seems like a good idea. I'm just going to drop this there and walk away. And it could really turn someone's day around. And that's what I have. You know, that's what I'm lucky to have. And I am very grateful to have my father. And I'm very grateful for the relationship we have. And it's very possible that I'm the one that strained it. Because I needed something that I couldn't give myself. Because I was lost. And losing Sissy Joe less than a year later after my mom, it broke me. And while the rest of my 40s had a lot of exciting and interesting things in it, it was also equally a shit show. And I said that last week, and I stick with that. Because I was trying to make things happen in my life that may not have been a plan for me, instead of just going with the flow. And I think that's why I wanted to do the self-love lessons, not just for all of you, but maybe selfishly, really for me. And I got a fortune cookie yesterday, okay? I know, had Chinese food last night. I got a fortune cookie yesterday that says, we learn when we teach others. We learn when we teach others. And these perspectives, I feel like I am teaching others. I'm teaching them from my own experience. I mean, I don't have a degree. I'm not some, you know, super crazy smart person out there. But I have experiences. I know what it feels like to be on that edge and about to tip off of it. Or walk off of it. I've been there. I've been to that edge of the darkness where you're looking out and you're like, boy, it'd be nice to be out there. And stepping off and out of this life. But I've always been lucky that someone's reeled me back in. And that's what I want to do. But I'm learning as I teach. I'm learning as these words come out of my mouth from wherever they're coming from. It's a gift. Things just, you know, riffing is my thing. And even my dad will text me every so often. He's like, it's amazing that you can do. He's like, you really don't have a script. It's like, no. Every so often I'll have notes. Because I want to get it right and I don't want to lie to people when I'm spewing out facts. but I don't have a script. And it's not a brag. It's not even a humble brag. It's something that I've been given and I use now to reach others, to try to help others. So whoever your role model is in this life, you can have more than one, the qualities. Well, I forgot about that part. Who are your role models and what qualities do you share with them? I think the qualities I share with them is that I've become a better person. I have truly become a better person. I'm not as angry anymore. I'm not a hurt person hurting people. I'm not a hurt people hurting people. I'm not as knee-jerky as I used to be, because I would get so defensive about things. Sometimes I slip and I lose myself, and it does not end up pretty. So I try so hard to really work on that. Even when people are peppering you with stuff that just feels mean because maybe they're angry. And I try to take that into consideration when someone just randomly starts to get mad at something or doesn't like being questioned, and then a fight ensues. And I have to remind myself, maybe they're hurting. Maybe this isn't how they really feel, but it's just something that they need to be angry about to let off that steam. But I would say the qualities I share with my role models, I mentioned a few, but older sibling has really taught me patience and resilience. Baby sibling has taught me resilience and to keep going and to just believe. And we were going through some stuff last week, not bad stuff. Her and I were just talking, and I was explaining some things, some little tricks and stuff that might help in the situation she was having, and to kind of help balance everything. And the compliment she gave me, it made me cry, because she is one of the most connected people that I know. And it's almost like, an actor receiving a compliment from someone they admire when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I was just like, wow. And then, of course, Eileen. I'm not just saying these things because you guys are on. There are times when I have fallen apart and Eileen has just texted me like, you're enough, you're okay, it's going to be okay, and I'm here if you need me. And I never said anything. She could just see it when she's able to come onto the perspective. So I don't know who else has been on, but I thought that third person was older sibling, but older sibling just got on now. So I guess, unless it just showed up. But anyways, those are the qualities, and those are my role models. So, I guess that's it. I guess I have nothing else to say. That's all. That's all. Okay, like Forrest Gump. That's all I have to say about that. So there you go. That's all I have to say about that. But anyways, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Like I said, pick role models who align with your values. Pick role models who, align with, your beliefs if you want. A role model can be anybody. It can be, like I said, it can be someone that maybe, you're aspiring to be something. You're like, wow, I really want to be like that person. But you don't know these people. Okay. So if you pick somebody who might be a celebrity, you don't know them in their private life, but aspire to their hard work. Think about, the journey that they had to go on, their professional side. Okay. If it's someone maybe you're like, wow, this person's resilient. Wow, this person just shines this light that's so bright. The whole world can see it, like maybe from the moon. Pick people who add to your life, who bring some kind of joy and positivity to your life, because they're the ones who are also going to see you through in your darkest moments, who are going to reach out to you even when you don't say, hey, I could use a lifeline. They're just going to know. Okay, so again, now that's all I have to say about that. I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. We'll be back here tomorrow with lesson number 29 of 30 of self-love. Oh, we're getting so close to the end. But anyways, sad face. But yeah, lesson number 29 tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Facebook Live. All lives are public. You can find it under Shelly Marie Lucas. You do not need to be friends with me because they are public, or you can catch the replays on my Facebook page, The Aloha Perspective, or my YouTube page where you can click and subscribe. The Aloha Perspective with Shelly Marie Lucas. All right. And I do share it to Twitter. So if you follow me on there, chances are you'll see the link for the long version, and on Instagram and TikTok, I do the shorter 1-minute version because, you know, some people just are on the go and like, yep, don't have time. I'll get the abridged version. So there you go. I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful Monday. Take care of yourselves. It's Monday. Don't worry about it. Friday will be here like this. Don't wish your life away. Okay. Enjoy every single moment of every single day, even the shitty parts, because you know what? That too shall pass. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to go get my tongue untied when we're done, and have a great day.